This is a lead edge feeder that increases your capacity and capability unbelievably. You're going to be able to run down to G-flute, 1/2 mil solid fiber, Corex, aluminium clad polystyrene, a whole host of new materials that you currently can't run. I'm going to run through this panel in a moment with you to show you that in addition to lead edge feeding, we have production management and control. Whether you buy a lead edge feeder or you buy a RotacuT die cutter or a RotaPrint, every feeder, every control panel, and all the software is absolutely identical on each machine. We just work on omission. So depending on which application this is, you omit certain controls in the panel, and we do that on installation. We know that this RollvaC will work on your machine. Well, it's very simple. The installation technician just has to answer 2 questions on the panel when he installs this, and that is distance to pull roll from RollvaC and repeat length of the host machine. And once he's entered those 2 dimensions in, that RollvaC package becomes bespoke for your specific machine. Having a look at the first screen, we have a choice: start, stop, count, and correct. Correct is a kind of servo registration. You can actually determine where the stroke begins. Simple, press the button and stop. Correct, for whatever reason you might want to use the feeder as registration, there's your ability to do that. Next screen, fans, 1 or 2, choose one or the other, as easy as that. Next screen, we can determine what type of feed to use. Feed to speed would be standard for your flexifolder glue or printer slotter. Extended feed would be an ability to feed sheets longer than the capability of the machine using our multiple registration. I'll get into that with you later. And feed to nip would be if you applied this RollvaC to a platen die cutter. So setting it on feed to speed, it stays on that once we've made the installation. Next, gives us a skip feed and batch mode. So we can choose skip feed if we wish. Well, we will select, it's on or off. Now we'll select batch. And going on to the next screen, batch target, batch feed number, batch weight number. This gives you the ability to run a total job, run it in batches, and have the machine continue to run but without feeding for any number you choose to give the operator time to do other tasks. Mainly a feature you use to enable your takeoff to run smoothly. So we're using some hypothetical figures here. Batch feed number 25. We're going to wait, so each handful of 25s are coming off, and then the machine continues to run and it waits 5 feeds, and it will shut down when it's done the batch target of 20,000. So returning, we've got the target in batch mode now, so we're ready to go. Turn the batch mode off, the target number disappears, so the operator has total control over what he's producing here. It only registers fed sheets, it's deadly accurate, it puts you back in control of your total count. So it's as easy as that. Here we're simulating rotating the encoder to show the RollvaC running. Now believe it or not, that'd be about 15,000 an hour. So you can see how little work this machine has to do, and each time it strokes, it's measuring and correcting the stroke incredibly quickly. And the only connection this kit of parts has to your machine is that little encoder there. And our job on site is to make sure that goes in the right place, picks the right signal up. Yeah, that's about 14,000 an hour. No lubrication, no adjustment, no maintenance except clean off the rolls every day. And all those parts are common and standard on the RotacuT. Now here's the icing on the cake. This is a really useful feature, and that is in-table jet printing. Now that jet head is 2 inches wide, and it will stroke a length up to 66 inches, and it will produce symbols, barcodes, sequential numbers, or anything you wish to scan on your PC into the unit. It's very simply fitted into our feed table, and it's adjustable across the machine. It's possible to increase this width by 2 inches each time with multiple heads, but of course the cost escalates. Here's the basic ink tank, and then to this we add another tank. This is 35,000 prints, and to this we can add an external tank to give us 75,000 prints of one of red, blue or black inks. We pick up our drive, and this is the interesting part. We pick up the drive for this off our servo, and the reason is that the sheet moves at different speeds over this head, and you cannot drive it conventionally. People who manufacture this would not engage in the drive problems. We've had to do that ourselves. Here we have a real live installation, 100-inch machine with the RollvaC that you saw in our workshop here installed. Installed on the feed table between the knocker slides and with the vacuum apron. Load of cell there in the center. Dead plate area to prevent viewing. Quite an easy installation. We fit the guard. There's the main panel. Here's the setup. And it's got a compensated feature on. So they actually use the RollvaC to compensate instead of the actual compensators. So it stopped, and we've got foreign labour here, just to show you that you don't need to speak English or understand much about the machine. Full respect to our operator here, he's doing a good job, but he's not trained. So here we go. One sheet, test, registration. Looks good. Again, registering with the feeder rather than the electrical compensators. Why? Because it's much more accurate if you've picked up any wear in your machine. This is a good workhorse that's been around for a long time. Piemonte Mechanical Print Cut 130, and the RollvaC's allowed it to go below its minimum size. Here's our fan installation. Looks good. And that's on the carriage to go back and forward with the feeder. So we're off and running. Every sheet measured, every sheet corrected. Every sheet perfectly square. Existing backstop, existing front guide.